Hey, Fish, we are live, and this is Daily Fish coming to you from Las Vegas, where Fish is, and Myrtle Beach area, where I am. And Fish, you got a little bit of a different background today. We're trying something new.
Yeah,
It looks really good.
I'm trying it from my phone, John, because we got buffering issues in my house. It's a poltergeist, so I don't know what the hell's going on. But let's see. A little bit from my backyard. Can you hear me good?
Can hear you fine. It actually it sounds good, looks good, and it's perfect.
Perfect.
So what we ought to do, tell folks, is that we're doing kind of what we call the Daily Fish hook. Bryan Cranston's coming up tomorrow on Daily Fish. We're going to talk about the second season of his hit show, Your Honor, that's coming up. We're going to have him live here at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Pacific, and it's going to be right here. Now, if you miss it, you can watch it and listen to it on all of our other platforms. And Fish, here's what's really cool about it. Showtime has gotten in touch with us. They want us to interview Cranston. Cranston wants to be back on the show. The second season of Your Honor premieres on Showtime, and it's going to be also streaming and on demand Friday, January 13th. Now, the second season on-air premiere that you'll get on cable of Your Honor premieres on Showtime this coming Sunday, January 15th at 9 p.m. Eastern and also 9 p.m. Pacific. And we're pumped about this. This is really cool because the second season should be great. The first season was ooh. The second season is going to be hopefully the redemption of it. So, anything you're thinking of what you would hit Cranston with?
Well, yeah, the first season was so compelling. It was a sad, sad, sad ending. And now you see the guy we're going to show a teaser for it tomorrow that Showtime gave us, and he's disheveled, and you'll get a little bit of the storyline. We're not going to give away a lot. But yeah, I mean, the body of work that this guy's done, and like we said when we did our show on Monday, the humbleness and humility of this man, you love him because he's just one of the guys. He's not doing this to do, let's do the late night stuff and do Kimmel and do all that other stuff. He just wants to get out there and talk and bullshit, and he's one of us. And he'll talk about the Dodgers. I'm gonna hit him up about the Rams. And you have a background with him. He talked you out of acting, thank God. And that's a good thing.
Now, folks, Fish mentioned this. If you want to see our show with Cranston, we did it. And Fish, this is unbelievable. I went back to take a look. July 20th of 2021 was when we interviewed him on the show for the first time. It's even more amazing that our show is still on. But not only that we had him there, but if you go to our YouTube channel, go to Daily Fish Podcast on YouTube, and it's labeled as show number 13, lucky 13 for us. Go take a look at it. And again, this was our old format where we were doing all the other stuff. We were doing, Schmuck of the Week and stuff like that and talking about sports. And then at the end, we had the guest. We've changed it. So the guest is going to be on. The guest is going to be the entire part of the show. And we'll do the other stuff in the other show. But what was fascinating was he actually came on and mixed a drink for us. And because he has the Dos Hombres mezcal. And it was so much fun. Plus, there was a lot of stuff, that I kind of knew about, not only from knowing him for so many years, but also I went back to read his bio. And he was actually a suspect in a murder way back when, before he, right after he got out of college and before he became a big actor. And it was fascinating to hear him talk about that. And of course, he was not part of it really, but he was considered to be a suspect. But there was some great stuff there. And so, folks, if you want to get a chance, go back and take a look at that. And you can see some of the cool stuff, and you'll see what Fish is saying, that Cranston is just not only one of the great talents, but also just one of the great people.
Sure. And again, looking forward to that. Looking forward to some more interviews we're going to have coming up in 2023. But, John, I got to segue into this. What a Debbie Downer, which I always call you, and a horrible fill that was for the national championship game the other night, Monday night, between Georgia and TCU. We both picked TCU to cover, but I love Kurt Herbstreit and Chris Fowler, but it's tough to talk.
Oh God!
All that fill for a half and try and sell it, and they tried, and it's probably the first championship game I've turned off. I started watching something else with my wife. We're binge watching something called Bloodline on Netflix, which is fantastic. My brother-in-law, Dave Panatti, said, you got to watch Bloodline. It came out in 2015. So that's what you do. Thank God you have streaming and you have podcasts, you have stuff like that to watch. What was your take? How long did it take you to realize when you're watching that game that it was over?
I thought it was over right before the first half. I was kind of holding out because, TCU had been such a, comeback team. Look what they did to win the Big 12 championship and to get into it. And to me, I was thinking, oh, what if they pull off one of the greatest comebacks of all time? And so it was 35-7 at the half. And then I think, so I did the same thing you did. I kind of left at halftime and I kept watching on my phone. And all of a sudden it was like 42-7. And it was like, wait a minute, TCU hasn't even come close to scoring yet. So it was right then and there. I knew that nothing was going to come back. And to be honest with you, I'm not really surprised that it happened, only for the simple reason Georgia was really pretty dominant throughout the season. They were horrible in that game against Ohio State. So kudos to Ohio State. Ohio State should have won that game if you think about it in the semifinals. If they'd kicked that field goal, most likely Georgia's not even in the championship game. Georgia gets in the game, and I think at the same time too, I think one of the things is they had too much time off probably in between the end of the season and at the end of the season they were playing Georgia Tech, and then they had to play Ohio State, and fortunately they made it, and I think it geared them up. And man, they were primed for that game, and I think somebody texted me and says they could have beaten the Raiders.
I did. I did. Yeah, they're that good. Yeah, and it brings up the the dialogue and the narrative. Is Georgia the next Alabama? I mean, this SEC. Look, I'm an alum of the University of Texas, and those idiots decided to join that conference in 2 years. Yeah. You got power schools that just dominate. They were so much more cohesive, bigger, and talented than TCU, and you saw that from the get-go. They just, and it's the reason why the SEC dominates the draft every year. If you don't watch college football, watch the SEC teams. They're terrific. Yeah. And my wife is screaming right now. There's dog shit in the backyard. Can people see it? You know what, John? Keep talking. I'm going to go clean it up. Go ahead.
Okay. While Fish does his poop review, we'll definitely hit you with a couple of things. I just want to tell you about, we are Daily Fish, and we're coming to you from Vegas and Myrtle Beach. I'm John Daly from Myrtle Beach. That's Fish with the poop, Eric Snyder. And again, we are teasing our show with Bryan Cranston that's coming up tomorrow. But we're going to cover some other stuff here as well. And if you have any questions or comments for us, or for Bryan Cranston tomorrow, email us at dailyfish1@gmail.com. And we'll try to get those questions to Cranston. Hopefully they're good. And there you can see Fish running around doing his poop display, which is beautiful. You do that so well. And God bless Molly for creating such big poops to allow you to be that good.
It's love. That's my backyard. My pool's over there, and seeing you. And I love doing this thing with the phone. You see the real fish coming out. Some of the best remotes we've ever done. John's been on golf carts doing this, and this will help technologically because we do everything from the phone. And you still see me, and you still see the phone come out of my mouth. You still get my idiocy, but you got a wife. She's got a sign up that says "Clean up the dog shit," because my house is in back of me. So in front of me. This is great. So.
And actually, one of the beauties of doing it off the phone that I found is, and again, I'm here in my house, I'm doing it off my laptop computer, but I find that especially the iPhone does not buffer. It actually gives you a really solid picture. And I think of all the times that I've done remotes for us because I've been traveling or I've been somewhere, they've actually turned out pretty good. There's only been one or two where I think I was in the wrong building and they didn't have any internet at all, or they didn't have any Wi-Fi. So no, it makes a ton of sense. And it looks like it's chilly there too, Fish.
It's 35 degrees. Who cares? I'm talking to you. And John, give yourself some credit. John wrote a book. Tell him about the book you wrote about how to use, because his other show he does called Undercover Jet Setter with Susan Anzalone. They do entire pieces on restaurants, travel areas. They came to Shuck's Tavern and shot me behind the bar, and you'd never know it was from a phone. And John's the one who said, Fish, if you turn your phone, was it horizontal or something like that? You get a better view. So I'm thinking about doing this from now on. I love my Raider backdrop, but it's maybe the Raider backdrop was the reason why I'm buffering, because they stink so bad. What do you think, John?
Well, it could also be why the Raiders didn't do well was because maybe you were showing them too much. You know,
What's that book that plug your book that you do about that? Because it's
the book.
I'm
The book
excited
is,
about because now I can do it for my car.
yeah,
StreamYard's been great. Go ahead.
yeah, and you can get it on Amazon. It's called The TV Studio in Your Hand, and again, it's by me, John Daly, and also Susan Anzalone, and our show is Undercover Jet Setter. But you can get that on Amazon. It's like I think it's like $7 or something like that. But I've actually taught a college course in that on how to shoot your own TV show by using it, and that's the beauty of the iPhone. And it's
I
it's
wrote
really
a book called Hooker in Your Hand before I got married. Didn't do very well, you know. Although John read it 4 or 5 times. No, it's exciting. I mean, I'm so excited about tomorrow because he's one of the guys. We'll have Hardline back. Hardline was off on Monday, but some of the guests we have lined up, we'll start getting Daily Fish more into the show that we do on Mondays, and then we're going to do interviews. And John's got Mike Maddox, Greg Maddox's brother, great pitching coach in Major League Baseball. Got Todd Edwards set up. This guy, career in law enforcement, great stories. I have Cole Wilson set up. He big realtor here in Las Vegas, and it's not going to be boring. He'll give you actually tips on what to look for, and it's not boring. So, and look at the alumni. Look at the alumni we've had. Look at Michael Shapiro, John. Look what he's done getting a residency coming on our show.
Yeah.
Look
Brad Grunberg.
at Donnie Most. Donnie Most is still talking.
Donnie is out on the circuit. I mean, he's doing shows all the time. We got Brad Grunberg, Brad, who's been on, Curb Your Enthusiasm. And he's a great producer of different things with a great podcast as well. So yeah, we got to get him out there. I got a number of authors that really want to come on the show too. So we want to get,
I'm going to cut you off on that one because you got me on a different tangent. John has a bunch of authors because now we've added a political segment that give you the real view of what's going on, and sometimes something you wouldn't think about that goes on behind politics. Politically wise, John, how bad does Biden look that they found some documents in one of his closets? I mean, the Red and Fox is going to jump all over that. Is he culpable, or my better question is, I think he's agreeing, or he's what's the word I'm looking for? Because it's cold out here. He's complying with all the authorities and all this stuff. So
yeah.
What's your take?
My take is, and CNN had kind of a different take in one of their stories, is that the information surrounded Ukraine, and so to me, I think on the surface, right now, Biden said, "Hey, turn it in," or his authorities said, turn it in, and this happened when he was vice president, and but the CNN story said it had some connections to Ukraine. Now, if that's true, going back then, I mean, that could be something pretty serious. Again, we don't know yet exactly what it is. And, I know Fox and, Newsmax are blowing it up. See, oh, wow, look at him. Look what he's doing. We don't know that yet. And the fact that he turned it over immediately, he was like, yeah, make sure it gets there. And the fact that they found it and they complied immediately, whereas everything that Donald Trump did, he fought everything. So we don't know yet. I would say on the surface, it's probably an oversight. It was from stuff from 6 years ago. So at the same time, too, you got to kind of question the oversight. It was how come they didn't follow that up? They didn't get that. So I don't know yet. I think you got to sit and wait and see what the findings are. And they're putting a prosecutor on it, and the prosecutor was appointed by Trump. So yeah, I just have to wait and see. I jumping to conclusions and reading one side over the other. No, don't do that. I would read the Associated Press stories. That way you're going to get probably more down the middle news without any emotion or rancor in it. So to me, that's what I always do.
To change gears just a little bit. My prayers go out. I have a lot of family. Most of my family's in California. A few of my cousins, my brother-in-law, Dave, have suffered from these floods and are digging out. And it's bad. It's bad that Kevin Costner couldn't get to the Golden Globes last night because he's stuck in Santa Barbara. So a lot of people are going through some horrible weather there. We've gotten some rain here in Las Vegas that we need. We need more, but California is going through a literal shitstorm right now and a shit show. and our prayers and blessings go out to them. Getting back to the Golden Globes last night, I told you, I talked about binge watching. I said, John, I know you have Hulu. You got to watch this show called The Bear with Jeremy Allen White, who was a star of Shameless. He won Best Actor last night. That means anything. A lot of shows that we binge watch, I'm going to brag about it, that did well in the Golden Globes last night. So Golden Globes, I think, John, are a precursor to the Emmys and the Academy Awards. And if you usually win a Golden Globe or you win it usually means that you're up for an Academy Award or an Emmy, correct?
Yeah, but it's a little bit more because you got the foreign press that's going to have a different take on different things. So you get a little different. Yeah, I would say so for the most part. The question is that, does anybody really care anymore? I mean, if you get down to it, just because the Oscars aren't a big thing anymore. I mean, I can remember, 10 years ago when I lived in Vegas, you and I we would spend the week before the Oscars going and seeing 10 or 12 different movies so we could talk about it. And I don't know that people do that anymore. I mean, because it's streaming. Streaming obviously is a big thing. I'm not saying that, acting or film production is changing. It is different. It's changing. And it's because of the streaming. But and people just aren't going to the theaters anymore. And COVID actually had that. So they're staying home like you and I do and doing the binge watching.
Can you see Molly? Molly's running around in the background. Before we get out of here,
really?
Brian Torson, who was our first guest we ever had in April, his website, Dragon Movie Guy, is blowing up. He is tons of followers. All he does is critiques of movies. We'll get him on the show and we'll do an exclusive because people do care about the Academy Awards. We'll get his take on it because he's now a major player in that genre. So, John, I can't wait till tomorrow.
Looking forward to it, buddy. Well, I was going to say real quickly, we were going to talk about the Carlos Correa story and how the fact that he's signed with the Twins, he's going back to the Twins for 6 years at $200 million. Quite a switch from what he was going to do with the Mets or the Giants as well. So give me your quick take on that. That seems
quick take is the Mets and the Giants doctors both gave him a failed report, and we're going to give him those big contracts. And the Twins took him back for 6 years and $200 million. So that I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. You're telling me that the doctors for the Giants and the Mets are horseshit, and the Twins doctors are better? I don't know. I mean, I like due diligence. So let's see. It's good for a smaller market like Minnesota to get a player like that. But these damaged goods, there's no salary cap. So whatever money they're given. The bigger story for me is I know you took a shot of lithium this morning because Trevor Story might be out for most of the season for the Red Sox. Huge player for the Red Sox right now. And so we'll get more into baseball. I mean, before you know it, pitchers and catchers report, buddy.
Well, it's less than 30 days, I think. And the other quick story we'll touch on that we won't touch on until probably next week is my Friars are now number 19 in the country. And they've had a great run. They're undefeated in the Big East. They got to play Creighton, I think, coming up Saturday or Sunday. So that will be a big game. So we'll be watching that.
Have a good day at school, honey. I cleaned up all the dog shit. Don't worry. We're good.
Thank God you did. That's
the
great.
lawn looks good, goddammit. So
all right, folks, thanks for joining us here on Daily Fish. As you know, we talk sports, entertainment, politics, everything in between, just like you do. No woke, no extreme, no social justice cops. You got a problem? Send us an email or comments. All you got to do is email us at dailyfish1, the number 1 at gmail.com. And again, we're on Facebook at daily.fish.5. You can subscribe there. Subscribe to us on YouTube. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple, iHeart, Stitcher, and Amazon. You can watch us also, again, on Facebook at Myrtle Beach Golf Channel and Myrtle Beach Grand Strand Life. Check out Daily Fish on YouTube and also on Wingding TV. And right now we are on Hey Vegas TV as well. And check out our posts and our news updates on Twitter and Facebook as well. And again, remember, tomorrow, Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m., I should say, Pacific, we will be talking with Bryan Cranston about the upcoming second season of Your Honor. And man, you are hot there, Fish. Very nice. I like it.
I'm just vaping, baby. I'm vaping for tomorrow. Love you, man. Thanks a lot.
Take care, pal.
You too.